Follow the journey of William Wes Ozier and take the first step on the path to discovering how to make your life and the world sustainable. William W. Ozier, Wes, is a lead AP who spent nearly 10 years working in the Arcosanti Project, the Acosta Institute, and the Lost Valley Educational Center. During that time, Wes was a contributing writer to the magazines Earth Odyssey and The Noise. This book is a compilation of his top 30 published articles on varying topics in green design, from arcology to xeriscaping. Easy to read and packed with information, this book gives both a technical and personal look into the developing sustainable world around us. William's Ecopedia Volume 1, Topics in Sustainability from Arcology to Xeriscaping, copyright June 2010. This book is dedicated to all of the pioneers who have and still are working hard to lay the foundations for a sustainable future. Table of Contents, Bio-Climactic Design, page 20. Bio-Climactic Design. Bioclimactic architecture is design that is made in response to the local environmental conditions. The phrase bioclimactic is almost synonymous with ecological design, or another way to phrase it is that ecological design is the method one uses to create bioclimactic architecture. The goal of ecological design is to harness as many existing natural forces on the site for the goal of creating a comfortable human habitat. However, ecological design is not just about human comfort, but about humanity's place within the environment, seeking to blend human aspirations and needs with natural systems in a way that is beneficial to both. Ecological design, and by extension bioclimactic design, is not just about causing no harm, but about making systems that are actively beneficial to the local, and by extension the global, ecology. The first consideration is the very site itself. When one studies permaculture, a necessary component in understanding ecological design, one learns how to read the land and understand the flows of natural forces at work within the landscape. By reading the land in this way, the ecological designer begins to understand the ecology of that land. Issues such as placement and orientation of buildings, types of agriculture and landscaping, and placement of pathways are all made based on the permaculture analysis of the site. All of the elements are positioned in such a way that they work with the flows of energy across the site, not against them. After the land is read and all the siting decisions are made, one then must decide what materials should be used for constructing a building or doing any landscaping. When appropriate, one could build with the very earth from the site itself. A good ecological designer would no doubt know several different techniques for earthen construction, and based on a series of quick soil samples, be able to determine which technique, if any, would be appropriate for the site in question. Of course, earthen construction may not always be the appropriate choice for a site, so the ecological designer would have to turn to other material choices. There's a wide variety of alternative construction materials out there to choose from. One of the main factors in determining if a material is appropriate is how local it is. The designer should do their best to get materials within 500 miles. That is 500 miles from the production point of the material, not the point of sale. Buying wood from the Home Depot 2 miles away does not count as a local material. However, if, say, for example, your neighbor had a large tract of wooded land and allowed you to acquire lumber in a sustainable way, that would be a local material resource. If your neighbor up the road was growing bamboo, that would be a local material resource. To determine if a material is appropriate, one should look at and gauge how local it is it made from recycled material, is the material itself recyclable, is the material made from rapidly renewable resources. Of course, other factors such as budget and how many labor hours does it take to work the material will also be major factors. Ultimately, the goal is to find materials that are as light on the earth as possible, affordable, aesthetically pleasing, and healthy. Using their analysis of the site, the ecological designer will then try to harness as many naturally occurring forces on the site to harness light, warmth, cooling, and energy as possible. This will involve techniques such as passive solar design, natural ventilation, daylighting design, and a host of other techniques. The idea is that the more natural forces harnessed on the site, the fewer mechanisms will be needed to accomplish the goal of providing human comfort, which is, after all, what bioclimactic design is about. Some may think that bioclimactic design should be mostly about protecting the environment, but think about it this way. If the goal is maximum human comfort, and if we destroy the environment, we will have made humans mighty uncomfortable in the long run. The more lush and bountiful the environment, the more comfortable humans will be within it. From that perspective, one can see that our personal self-interests as individuals and as a species are one and the same with the interests of the environment. Considering we are obviously products of the natural environment, that should not be a shock. Bioclimactic design is not a Luddite movement. In other words, we're not talking about eliminating technology. To ecological designers, machine systems are thought of as backups to natural forces, not replacements for them, only to be used when nature cannot provide in a specific instance. For example, if the sun can provide you with heat and light, try to harness that first. Then if you cannot meet all of your needs with those natural forces, use machinery to supplement, not replace them. There are many aspects and details that need to be handled in a design, too many to cover thoroughly in this one article, but all of them can be addressed in different ways with ecological design and the creation of bioclimactic architecture. One of the factors that makes it so difficult to accurately define and explain bioclimactic design is that so much of it utterly depends on the specific conditions of the site in question. Techniques that work in one place may not be appropriate for another. Being an ecological designer requires learning, not as much about specifics, but about new paradigms in design thinking. This way, armed with this new design philosophy, the ecological designer can create design solutions unique for each site based on the local environment and the people in question. When I am working on a problem, I never think about beauty. I only think about how to solve the problem. But when I have finished it, if the solution is not beautiful, I know it is wrong. R. Buckminster Fuller. Thank you.